Welcome into this week's Stampin' Fun Friday. This is the weekend edition. This is actually on a Saturday. This week I'm sharing how to use the Spellbinders dies with the Sizzix Big Shot. And the first thing I'm going to do is just show you how to die cut it. You use the multi-purpose platform with all the tabs closed. You put your die on there, the paper that you want to die cut, and then you use both clear cutting mats on top and run it through your Big Shot. This isn't the part that I really wanted to show. I mean, I want to show you how you can use it with your Big Shot, of course, the Spellbinders dies, but I'm going to show you how I don't use the Spellbinders mats for embossing. What I do is you leave the die cut piece right in your die, or if it comes out, you can just kind of carefully put it back right in your die. Then I use my Sizzix embossing mats, and there I put the one down, and then you need a shim, which is just something to add a little bit more bulk, and then you put your other embossing mat through. And so I just use the paper that came with the Spellbinders, but you could use a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock folded in half or whatever. And then I run it right through my machine and emboss it like you would any embossing folder for the Sizzix, and you can see it gave a really nice impression. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is show you how I have masked and put together this cute little set from my favorite things, the Pure Innocence collection of stamps. And I am going to stamp this little girl with the cart, or the wagon rather, and I'm going to put the little animals in the cart. So I've mounted the animals on my Fiskars stamp press, and I just lay my stamps out just so I can get an idea where they go. So I'm just kind of looking there before I press it down, and that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and move that little girl out of the way, line up my stamp press with my die cut and embossed label, and then I'm going to stamp those the cute little bear and bunny rabbit. And you can use the little girl with the wagon with or without the animals, and I just chose to use her with these for this particular sample. I am also using the stamping mask paper from Inkadingadoo, and it is just this really great paper that you can stamp on. There's a bunch of sheets in the package. This is just one sheet, and I've cut the little girl out and the wagon and her little animals from this one sheet of paper, and you can see there's still tons left. So this is going to last me a long time, especially if you save your masks, which I save mine if they're on this nice paper like this and not just Post-it notes. I just tuck them right in with my stamp where I store it. So I'm just peeling off the backing off of I've already stamped the little animals on the masking paper, and I'm just peeling off the backing and then laying them right over where I stamped them on the die cut label. And you want to be really careful to get them right over the design so you don't leave any funny lines when you either stamp over it or ink over it or airbrush over it, anything like that. You can see I didn't quite get that one lined up, so I need to redo it real quick. So the first thing I'm using the masking for is I need to mask that off because I want to use the little girl with her wagon, and I want to stamp that over it, and I want it to look like the animals are hanging out the side of her wagon. So I'm inking this up with the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. This is one of the recommended inks for using with Copic markers, and I stamped the little girl right there. Clean my stamp off real quick, and you can see the little animals hanging out right there in her wagon. I really like stamp sets like this that you can incorporate several elements with just the one design. And I was going to go ahead and stamp the background and stuff over it, but I usually color that first. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these two little masks, and then I'm going to color in my image with some Copic markers. So just save those, set those aside for a little bit because I will be needing them again. And then I'm just going to kind of speed through the coloring process, just so you can see how I color her in. This is E000 that I just kind of color all of her skin in, and then E00 to add a little bit of darker tones, and then E01 to add just a little bit more dark tones. Then R20, which is blush, and then I go all back over it with the E000. Her hair is Y11 and Y28. Just coloring that and shading that all in real good. Oops, went out of the screen just a little bit. Sorry about that. Then for her dress, it's G0000, which is a really light, pretty green color, and then G000, I believe. I'll have that in the instruction list. So I'm just adding a little bit of shading with the darker color and then going back over it with the lighter color to kind of blend it all out. And then I'm coloring in the bear and adding a little bit of pink tones for the noses and the inside of the ears for both the bunny and the bear. I'm using some cool gray colors for the bunny and some brown tones for the bear. And I'll have all of those listed in the supply list on my blog. I'm also adding some brown tones for her shoes, and then also for the little wagon. Color that all in real quick. Just add a whole bunch of shading. Very simple. And then again, some gray tones for the wheels. A little bit lighter for the center. And then I just added a little bit of shading underneath the wagon. I apologize that that went out of the screen a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and go back and take my masks and lay them right over what I have just colored. Make sure I get those lined up really good. And I've also already created the masks for both the wagon and the little girl. So I'll lay all of those right over what I've colored. And I love that this masking material doesn't hurt your colored or stamped images at all. In fact, you can see I've already used these before. There's already some stamping on them from the last time I used them. I think it's easier if I start here at her feet and then work up. Okay, once you have the masks in place and all smoothed down real good, I'm going to need to mask off just the bottom of the design because I only want the cloud background to be up above. And I know I said I wasn't going to use clouds this week, but I guess I lied. I tried not to, but I really wanted to use them for the background of this image. So I'm using the Soft Pool Shadow ink from Hero Arts plus their Clouds background stamp. And this is one of my very favorite combinations. I use this a lot for many different cards. And I'm going to ink that up really good. And then just make sure I have something laying over the bottom of my design. And then stamp that background right over the top of that die cut label with the stamped image. Make sure I get that good and stamped on there. Then I'm going to go ahead and take a design from the Hero Arts Clear Set Stamp a Garden, and it has this really cute grass border, or little border I guess I would call it, that doesn't require being colored in. So I'm going to stamp that right along the bottom of my label. And again, it looks like it cut off a little bit of, there we go, cut off a little of my video. So you can see that I stamped a little grass there. Now I'm going to take some old paper distress ink and rub that right along the bottom of my design. So it kind of looks like maybe a little sandy driveway or sidewalk or something like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and remove my masks. And I'm going to remove them carefully because I'm going to want to use them again. Just to save me time the next time I want to use my stamps, these same stamps. So that is how I created my layout. For more instructions plus the supply list, please visit my blog at www.nicolemcgurk.com on August 7th, 2010. Thanks for watching.